40 top hits in England, and they're the one synthesizer-based band that can still sell out stadiums and arenas around the world. Have you figured out who I'm talking about yet? Well, you're about to in just a minute. I'm talking, of course, about the one and only Depeche Mode, and hanging with me today in the Vh1 Classic studio, it's a great honor to have Dave Gahan here. Dave, good to see you.
Doing?
Martin Gore. Martin, thanks for coming. And Fletch, Andy Fletcher.
Nice
good to see you, Andy.
Good to be here.
Were they or weren't they? And if so, then when? During the last few years, Depeche Mode were certainly surrounded by rumors, but earlier this year, those rumors were answered when the guys got together to write and record Playing the Angel. And as if you had to ask, Playing the Angel is another classic installment in the Depeche Mode legacy. All right, Dave, we're going to start with you because you're chomping at the bit to get involved here. Yeah. I recently read a quote about the new album Playing the Angel, and you said, I really felt before we started this album that there was some unfinished business. Now, I just mentioned all the albums that have been sold, all the people that have come to see Depeche Mode. What possible unfinished business could there have been in your mind to do this record?
Well, it's just a continuation, you know, really. I just felt that, like, we've still got places to go that we haven't been yet in terms of making music together. And, you know, definitely that happened during the making of this record. It felt like that. It felt like we were reinvigorated and going into the studio like with excitement like we used to, you know, somehow. I don't know. And we had a good team working with us, you know. We had a good producer, Ben Hillier, and a couple of guys working with him, Rick Morris and Dave McCracken, programming. And we just had fun making the record. There was a lot of good times.
Martin, how about for you, the experience of making the record and getting back together after 4 years apart?
Yeah, it was, like Dave said, it was a good experience. The band was getting on very well. I think that Ben and his team helped to create a really good atmosphere. So, yeah, it was a pleasant time.
Anything you want to add, Andy?
Not really. It's just we're just very excited about the album and going on tour again. So, we've had a good year so far making the record. So we're looking forward to now playing the record.
Judging from what the fans have said, they're loving the record as well. It's already getting some great response all over the world, which is certainly a good thing. Now, it wasn't as if the members of Depeche Mode were relaxing on a desert island during the last 4 years. Andy was DJing and started a record label. Dave recorded Paper Monsters, his solo debut, while Martin released Counterfeit 2, the follow-up to his 1989 debut EP. So, guys, how did doing these side projects and the things that you've done in the last 4 years prior to making Playing the Angel, how did it contribute, if at all, to the new album? Do you think it had any effect on it?
Yeah, I think it did. I think it made all of us a lot more confident. And also, you know, having time away from Depeche Mode made us want to come back and start a new album. You know? So I think it had a big effect.
How about for you, Martin?
Well, because I was recording a covers record, I didn't actually write any songs for about 4 years, so I came back.
Shame on you. He's not the most prolific songwriter the world has ever seen. Yeah.
So, you know, when I did come back to it, I came back to it with a bit more enthusiasm.
Right. So for 4 years, you didn't write music at all?
No.
Had you ever gone that long without writing since you started with Depeche Mode?
Yeah, it's quite a regular thing for us. We put albums out every 3 or 4 years, you know.
As the principal songwriter in the band, is it something that you, when you do songwriting, is it something you really have to bunker down and do and say, this is what I'm focusing on, and block everything else out, or do you do it on the road and when it comes to you?
No, I have periods when I just sit down and, you know, make myself write.
And Dave, normally with me with a whip behind lashing him. Come on, get those hits out.
Little extra inspiration there from Fletch, huh? And Dave, how about for you? You did the solo record, and I know that also lent to you contributing in the songwriting department on the new album. But how did the solo album set you up for your return to Depeche Mode, if at all?
In that same way, really, just to sort of inspiring, enjoying that process of writing, and feeling invigorated by it, and I guess, you know, wanting to do that in the band that I've been in for 25 years.
Was that something that was important to you for to when you did Depeche Mode again that you wanted to write some songs?
To contribute and to sort of be recognised within the band, and I think it took, you know, and understandably, me to sort of go off and do that and complete an idea instead of my usual process of starting an idea and not completing it. And you know, and it's a work in progress. You know, it's something I really enjoy doing, and to be honest, I'm kind of in the same way that Martin said. It's like I, you know, set aside sort of writing periods and go, and I have a little studio in New York, and I go to work every day and just see what's going to happen, and quite often nothing happens. And you know, sometimes some ideas come, and I enjoy working with, you know, collaborating with other people.
3 tracks on the new record that you have, and you wrote with other people on there. Who are the other people that are on that?
Christian Eigner, who plays drums with Depeche and has for, I guess, well, since
10 years, actually.
He first started playing. He first started playing with Excited, didn't he?
Next year.
Ultra.
Really?
He played some session stuff on
Ultra. We've got to buy him a gold wash or something.
Yeah, and he had some ideas and I had some ideas, and we kind of like were, you know, exchanging our ideas, and then we just got together with Andrew Philpott as well, who sort of did some programming on the road for us for a while, and sat in the studio, and you know, from those ideas, more ideas developed as you sort of go along, and starting that process of writing is an interesting process.
Do you guys feel that it helped bring a different texture to the album, having Dave bring some songs in?
Yeah, I think it does help. I think, you know, it's good to... the album's got a good flow to it anyway, but it's, you know, I think it's good to bring in different elements, new elements.
Takes a little pressure off of you too after
we've never had extra tracks before. Yeah, we actually recorded 4 more tracks that have not been released yet, or 3 haven't now, I think.
Oh, really?
So,
in the can.
Yeah.
One of the cool things about playing the Angel and Depeche Mode in general is the dynamics in the music and all the different sounds. And it's so well illustrated on the new album because the opening sounds on the very first track are kind of like, put it on in the studio earlier, it's like, it grabs your attention.
I'd run straight out of the room when I put it on.
Was that a desired effect? Is that something that you went for initially, just to kind of let everybody know Depeche Mode's back?
We're back.
Yeah.
It is a good, it's
like a siren.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're probably, it's going to be a good opener for the set in some way, shape or form.
If we decide to do it.
Oh,
I hope that some fan doesn't get it home and, you know, accidentally left the stereo up really loud.
My mum actually said to me when she first played it, it kind of did scare her a bit, and she turned it down and couldn't hear the rest of the record.
Appropriately
turned it back up.
Appropriately titled "The Pain That I'm Used To" because it's very loud and piercing. I was waking up in the morning driving and put it in the car for the first time. It was, you know, it got you going.
Wakey.
But it's great because
better than an espresso.
Exactly, and cheaper. But it's great because it takes you then on that roller coaster of all those different textures, which is what makes this band, amongst other things, so great. Plenty more to come as I continue to hang with Depeche Mode. Welcome back to the Vh1 Classic studio in the heart of New York City, where I have the pleasure of hanging with Dave Kahan, Martin Gore, and Andy Fletcher of Depeche Mode, who are back with a great new album. Why are Depeche Mode fans ecstatic? Because the band's new album, Playing the Angel, is great. That's why. It's 12 tracks of pain and suffering in various tempos. That's what's printed on the back of the CD, at least. And it's the first album to feature songwriting contributions from Dave Kahan. Where did that quote come from, by the way? Pain and suffering in different tempos. Who came up with that?
Well, I think it was when Daniel Miller, who's Mute Records, he comes and in the studio and sort of visits us. And right early on in the record, I think it was a couple of weeks in, he came out and sort of joked, like, so what's the title? You know, we never have a title, you know, until like the last day of recording.
We've got songs.
And,
that's the hard part, the songs, though, I would think.
And we sort of joked and just like, you know, the usual pain and suffering. And he said, yeah, in various tempos or something like that. And it kind of stuck. And so that was the first one that went up on the wall. And we had to use it somehow.
And how did you end up with Playing the Angel then, if you have a hard time with album titles? Who came up with that?
Oh, last ditch. Last ditch effort, last day.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Daniel forced us to come up with a title,
Just-
or the album couldn't get released.
It's actually a line from the last song on the album, The Darkest Star. But we was going to have Pain and Suffering in various tempos, but we didn't think it was a very commercial title.
But it's actually got
In the
more attention.
supermarkets, you know.
Right.
For the average person, you know.
We just thought,
Some people might find it funny, but some people might think we're serious.
Well, see, that's a really good point, because Depeche Mode has this dark undercurrent and this pain and suffering, but I think that there is very much a positive sense to some of the music too. Do you think people do take it a little bit too seriously at times?
it's that little
I
twist, isn't it? It's that
Yeah.
little fine line.
Yeah, I think there's an uplifting quality to some of the music too. Do you agree? Or
I would hope so.
Most of the music.
yeah. But do you think that people dwell too much on that aspect of the pain and the
Doom and
suffering?
gloom and-
I
gloom
think
and
that
gloom?
is the misconception. But our fans know quite different. When they come to a show, they experience quite a different feeling to what people sort of talk about a lot, associate us with. You know, it's a very uplifting experience. You know, you don't go away from a Depeche Mode gig feeling like down.
Right. No, not at all. Precious is the first single.
Well, some of the reviewers do.
Did you guys, the press, whether it be, you know, positive or negative reviews, are you guys a band that's always read a lot of your press and had it affect you, or it just kind of roll off your back?
Sadly, we do read it, yeah. It's one of those things that you can't, I always say to myself every record, like, you know, I'm not going to read the press this time. It's just like, you know, it kind of takes away from the real moment, because you kind of like can't help but get into it, and but I'm reading it.
And yeah, we're getting, as usual, we get loads and loads of good reviews, and we get some occasional stinkers. And the occasional stinkers are real stinkers, but...
Right.
Reviews are subjective, and you know, we made a big point of putting one good review and one bad review on our first singles collection, you know, just to show how, you know, ridiculous reviews are.
Right, totally. First single from the album is Precious, which is, you know, I guess, for lack of a better term, more of a ballad, definitely different than what the opening, you know, more of a laid-back track. Tell me about the origins of that song, Martin.
It's about, I'm in the middle of a divorce at the moment, so, you know, I've got 3 children, and the song's sort of about that.
So is
It
it
is a
hard?
bit sad, really. No?
Yeah. Is it hard for you to write about things like that that's so they're very personal?
That song was, I think, probably the easiest one to write for some weird reason.
The music video we're seeing here on Vh1 Classic, on the Classic Current show. Video has been such a big part of the evolution of Depeche Mode, and a guy that's worked a lot with you and also worked on this record in the artistic department is Anton Corbin. Talk a little bit about what he brings to the band. You almost kind of consider him as an unofficial 4th member because of his contributions over the years?
Yeah, well, he obviously brings a bit of comedy, you know, if you look at the cover.
The tubby golf.
The tubby golf. No, I mean, Anton's been instrumental in sort of making us look good, I suppose, in every possible way since he started working with us in the 80s.
Apart from we have to really appear live on TV, you know, and obviously you can see
We look
don't
normal.
Well, it's great stuff, and I'm sure folks are going to see the music video shortly, but it's really great. I also want to ask you, one of my favorite Depeche Mode songs is, I'm sure everyone watching, Personal Jesus. Did you ever hear the Johnny Cash version of the song?
Yes, of course we
Did
did.
catch it once or twice. I listened to it about 1,000 times.
Oh, what's your thoughts on it? Did you like the interpretation?
Of course.
Yeah.
You did?
Of course, it's, you know, a great honour, but, you know, for us to have one of our songs covered by Johnny Cash.
Right, because I had read where when he did Hurt by 9 Inch Nails, Trent had said when he originally heard it, he didn't like it. But originally, after he kind of warmed up to it a little bit, he realized what Johnny was going for with his song, and he felt now almost as if he had written the song for Johnny Cash. You loved it right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
How about the Marilyn Manson version? Have you heard that?
Yep.
Same? You like it? Dislike it?
It's not, but I didn't think it was that far away from the original, to be honest.
Right.
You know, the Johnny Cash version is, you know, there's like a whole guy's personality is all over it.
Right.
So it's different. I mean, not that Marilyn Manson's personality isn't on there. It is, obviously, in his voice, but it's just, there was something very, very unique about Johnny Cash's version.
Right. Something amazing to just think about in general, that you can take a band You take Depeche Mode, one song in particular, and have artists as diverse as Johnny Cash and Marilyn Manson both do the song and do interesting versions. So that's all you need to know about the quality of the music that these guys make. I'll continue to hang with Depeche Mode more this hour and look for that classic music video, or not classic, future classic music video for Precious. As promised, I'm back with the guys in Depeche Mode, hanging with them today in the VH1 Classic studio. Certainly been a lot of fun, and we'll get to these Sharpie Minis and this album that appeared in front of Dave in just a couple seconds. But first, I want to tell you about the band's great new album, which is in stores now. Last year, Depeche Mode released the platinum-selling Remixes 81 through 04, which featured some of their biggest hits, deconstructed and reconstructed by some of the artists they've influenced and inspired. Now, Depeche Mode are back with their 11th studio album, Playing the Angel, which proves they're still the world's most subversive electronic pop group nearly 25 years after they first formed. Brothers of Reinvention is just one of the many nicknames that's been applied to Depeche Mode. You comfortable with that, or Fletch is shaking his head? You hate it?
No, I like it.
You hate it? Okay. Is it important for you guys every time out to constantly try to reinvent yourself? Do you think that's one of the secrets to the longevity of the band, Martin?
I don't know. To be honest.
It's not a conscious thing?
No, I mean, we do try to challenge ourselves each time, but we have no idea.
It's sounding pretty much the same.
Yeah. You ask most people out there, they think every album sounds exactly the same.
Really? Really?
Doom and gloom.
And suffering various tempos. I think it is important to feel like you're doing that. And I think, you know, we've sort of, since Alan left the band, which was a long time ago, over the course of the few albums that we've made since he's left now, I think each time we've had to sort of develop into something else, whoever we're working with.
Right.
You know, if you play the 3 different albums, Ultra, Exciter, and Playing the Angel together, they're very different sounding albums.
You guys looking forward to going out on the road? Anything you can tell the fans out there what to expect? A big tour? And I imagine it's getting tough to pick a set list now with all the music to choose from too, right?
Well, actually, in the beginning, we kind of come up with the same songs, apart from a few, but it's hard because there's a lot of songs to choose from. We're fortunate that we have a big sort of, you know, library of songs to go back to, but we're trying to do a bit from everywhere.
And the loyalty of the fans, too, is really something else. I mean, you guys your fans have really stuck by you throughout, and I guess that, you know, that really has to mean a lot to you, because obviously a band without its fans doesn't really do much, right?
So, no, I mean,
they break up.
Yeah, they break up.
Really,
you didn't have any fans, you'd break up. But, our fans are very loyal, and also that takes a lot of pressure off us when we're in the studio.
Right. Yeah. I want to ask you guys if you'd be so kind, if you see around our studio, I know you were checking out some of the albums before that we have up on the wall, and if you'd be so kind to sign a copy of one of your records there with the Sharpie Mini.
As long as you put us next to Barry Manilow.
Was that where you want to be? I think we could make some space there. That would require us knocking out Elton John, though, so I don't know. We'd have to talk to Elton about that.
Okay. But I'm going with the black classic, of course.
Yes, absolutely. There you go.
That's the classic.
Right?
That's the classic. I mean, I don't know about these new ones.
Well, you guys can feel free to choose any color you'd like and sign away, and
That may be purple, actually.
I really like these.
I'm kind of freaked out now that I used that.
While you guys are signing, if you could tell us real quickly anything else that fans of Depeche Mode should be looking forward to beyond the tour. Are you going to be doing any other releases, any other compilations, DVDs maybe of the tour? Have you documented any of that?
As yet, we haven't really talked about it yet. I mean, we're just concentrating on getting out there. We're doing a little warm-up gig at the end of this week here in New York.
I heard about that. There's a lot of people who want to try to get into that show.
Yeah. And then we kick off down in Florida, and you know, next week. So
fun for you guys to do the small, intimate gigs as warm-ups and kind of surprise gigs.
More nerve-wracking, but yeah, it's going to be a bit. Yeah, definitely a little bit. I mean, it's the first gig, and you know, we haven't played together for 4 years. So.
Right. Well, guys, I know time is limited. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks a lot.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Good luck with the new album and the tour. Safe travels.
Thank you.
Depeche Mode, Playing the Angel is in stores now.